Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast that wouldn't die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool will give up a chance for a 30% discount.
New York City is only a day away from the green inferno of the Amazon jungle. 4 Americans plunge into the savagery of the Amazon jungle to film a documentary. They never come back. Are they still alive? If so, where are they?
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me as always is Aaron.
Hey.
This week, we're discussing the controversial horror classic, Cannibal Holocaust, starring many Italian actors and one American porn actor.
Woo!
And good stuff. And a lot of indigenous people of South America. So you have that to look forward to.
Mono, in case you've ever studied anthropology or cultural anthropology in college. Whoop, whoop.
I have not. How about them apples?
You didn't go to college, or you didn't take a cultural anthropology?
6 of one, half dozen of the other. Who's to say? Who's to say? So each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's the latest? What's going on with you?
Honestly, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? I've just taken to just going to bed. It's like a hurricane here. Because of course we're in California. So after the fires come the rains. I'm just waiting for the neighbor's oak tree to come crashing through my living room.
It could happen.
Oh, trust me, it could.
Sweet Jesus.
Sweet Jesus unto the Lord during this Lenten period.
Okay, that's fair. This is Lent. Did you give up anything for Lent?
Catholicism?
Boom goes the dynamite. Interesting.
It literally says that I'm Catholic, but real on my dating app, but it's really non-practicing Catholic, hoping to meet another non-practicing Catholic so we can geek out on weird Catholic references that no one else understands.
My children like to say that I was excommunicated by the Catholic Church, which may or may not be true.
Converted when you got married, aren't you like Southern Baptist or some hinky-madinky thing that
I
your
did not.
wife was involved with?
Incorrect. No, we. The reason why I don't know. It could be. The reason why I was quote unquote excommunicated is because we weren't married in the church. We weren't married in the church. Now she was kind of Methodist, kind of, and I'm kind of Catholic. I wouldn't have asked her to convert because I don't feel strongly enough about it, and I definitely wasn't going to convert to something else when I'm already I don't care.
You're like, I'm comfortable with my crazy. I'm not reaching out for your crazy. Are Methodists the snake handlers? I don't know.
That is not the truth. Good Lord, the snake handlers. How dare you?
Say you didn't baptize your children either, so they're all going to purgatory.
No, that's all. Yes, that is correct. No, they were all baptized in the Catholic Church, and that was when my contribution ended. They have not done anything else in the church. So I guess I've covered my bases.
Your obligation is that
100%. That's my attitude.
Just in case.
Cross those fingers. So yes, and that's about it. I think I went to church a couple times after I got married, just because I felt like that was kind of important at the time, and then football season started, and then I never went again. So
Oh
there
my
you go.
God, I got so tired of dragging everyone, including my husband, to church and with bribery. Here we're gonna go out to breakfast afterwards. Hey, I tried all like mom's old tricks, and finally I was just like, screw this. I'm exhausted.
Well, it's like you said. I mean, I'm sure you did this move as well as I did, where it's like, it's Sunday morning, your parents are knocking on the door to get up and go to church, and you just pretend you're asleep and hope they
Yeah.
just leave you alone. So, yeah, it's a
In
horror
our
story.
family, ain't nobody leaving nobody alone. Yeah. Honestly, I tried to always do a Saturday because Sunday is a day I would prefer to just be in my underwear all day.
Yes. Yes. All the live long
Lord
day.
told me to rest, not to get up at the crack of dawn and get all dressed up and go to church. Not that anybody gets dressed up no more.
That's a sad state of affairs. Well, I mean, also, our parents were very much like, we're going to church whenever possible. If you go to
Yes.
church on Friday because you go to Catholic school, doesn't count. You're
Doesn't
still going.
count.
You're still going on
That's not a
Sunday
whole,
with us.
that's not a holy obligation. We're camping in the forest. Don't you worry. We'll find a church because the law, as long as it's within an hour's drive, we're going to church.
100%. And they
Vacation, mommy.
I'm convinced Mom invented the term "Holy Day of Opportunity," which I'm not sure. That ain't no real stuff. This is some made up stuff.
Every day in the Catholic world is a day of opportunity. It's an opportunity to get a little closer to the Lord.
Absolutely.
I'm more concerned about the holy day of obligation. Those are the ones, if you skip out on, you got to go confess your sins face to face with the priest.
Well, you've got your Catholics who go to church every Sunday. Then you've got what they call the Christmas Easter Catholics. And I am kind of a bridge beyond that, where it's like if I'm with
the wedding funeral Catholic, is that how you are?
if I have to, right? Oh, maybe I'll just see them at the wake afterwards. Does that count for something? No, it's a sad situation.
They used to call Ash Wednesdays when the sinners come in because they're confused and think it's a holy day of obligation. But Ash Wednesday is not a holy day.
Really? I didn't realize that. I mean, I didn't go anyway.
It's an opportunity. We used to have a priest here before he was defrocked that always made a joke about the sinner's holiday.
Yeah, because they don't know.
Everybody starts showing up. They start getting a little guilty and confused, so then they pop in to get their ashes.
Right before he got defrocked.
Ashes done from Major Toms.
Why don't we adjust what we're talking about here?
Move away from fallen Catholics and on to other things.
Other things. Why don't you give us your 30-second synopsis of Cannibal Holocaust?
Oh my God. A bunch of explorers go to the Amazon to do some research, but in reality, these documentarians actually set up everything, and in their drunken, freaky ways, it's nothing but rape and murder, which they like to then re-edit, where they're just covering an interesting story. Hey, they get killed. And, and nobody's sad in the end. The end.
This movie, and I have to apologize to the audience because I fully understand why people who are aware of this movie may be bothered by the fact that we're even discussing it, because it's controversial for it's controversial for a variety of reasons. I mean, there's scenes. Go ahead.
It is graphic and gross, but I'm much more upset over the movie Zombie or anything by Eli Roth.
Well, that's the thing. Here's the reality. It's like the violence that you see that's fake is it approaching Zombie? Perhaps.
Well, I gotta say there is a difference. Nonstop rape versus, which is shocking, did not make me want to vomit the way eating real pigs' intestines. Let's just put it that way.
There are scenes in this movie that the regular cannibal stuff is not that big of a deal, honestly. As far as we go on this show, the things that are upsetting that are fake. We're gonna get to the real stuff in a minute. But the things
No,
that are upsetting,
the most upsetting things are the real stuff.
the real stuff is the most upsetting stuff. But there's scenes in this movie, and it's like sexual violence. The sexual violence in this,
and lots
there's
of
lots of
sexual
it.
violence.
Lots of sexual violence in that. Now, presumably it's simulated, but who the hell knows? It's upsetting. It's very upsetting. It's very graphic, and it's rough. But that doesn't hold a candle to the real animal violence that occurs in this.
Right. They really killed, and really it looked like they were just torturing them. Little animals. Horrible.
Yes.
I had to cover my eyes.
Yes.
I mean, my kids were in 4-H. I've been there to when we butchered chickens. I have cleaned freshly killed chickens. This is not what this is. This is just torturing them and then killing them in some bad, super sloppy way.
Correct. So a lot of it, like, look, I'm not a vegetarian. I always have to preface this stuff. I eat meat. You know what I mean? So there's a point where you say, it's like, look, if you're eating animals,
as humane as you
correct.
can be.
100%. And you're right. The animals that are killed in this movie, it's clearly done just for shock, just to be shocking. It doesn't do anything to promote the plot forward. It is there just to be shocking and stomach churning. And the first time it happens, because I mean, I've seen this movie once before, and I think you've seen this once before.
Yeah.
And your mind kind of, it knows that they're there. But I think for your own protection of your psyche, it kind of downplays it. But once you rewatch it, you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah. I am much more upset by this movie the second time than I am the first time.
Absolutely.
I think I might have had a couple beers the first time, so I might have just been drifting in and out.
Right.
That's the only thing I can come up with, and I'm like, God, I don't remember this movie being so horrible.
It's rough. Let's go back a beat here. In the 70s, especially in Italian cinema, there was kind of this movement towards, like, let's be shocking and violent. And they were kind of like about the same time, because the first movie, there was a movie called The Man from Deep River, which was the first quote unquote cannibal kind of movie. And they're kind of like travelogues to a certain degree, where we're going to this far in South America, we're going Southeast Asia.
This one was definitely a travelogue. Hey,
right.
We're going to Amazon. Check this out. And over here are the blah, blah, blah.
Correct. So that's kind of what they're going to. And then they add this level to it where it's like, here are the natives, quote unquote, right? The native people. And the crazy thing about it is they often hire actual indigenous people who are not actors.
They hired the Yanomami. They thought, I read something, they're like, when they were asked, telling them what they were going to do, they thought it was funny. They're like,
right.
Crazy Italians. What are you going to do?
Correct. And they don't have their own film industry. So in some cases, especially
no cinema Yanomami.
No, there is not, I'm sad to say. So there were times where the actors who were forced to do these things, these violent acts, simulated violent acts onto like the indigenous people, there was concern from the actors, from both actors, because they're just like, does this person know that this is just pretend? And how do I feel about that? This is like a horrible thing that we're filming, and that it's a whole.
So if it was Italian on Italian violence, that'd be less concerning.
That is a-okay. So by the late 70s, there were like a rash of zombie movies coming out of Italy, and there were a rash of cannibal movies coming out of Italy, and in some cases there were both, where there's zombies and cannibals in the movie.
Zombies are cannibals.
Zombies don't eat other zombies, Aaron. So there
But
you
they're
go.
people.
Are they?
Well, they were.
Who's to say? Who's to say?
If I have a rock and I pour water on it, is it still a rock, or did it change?
Touche. That's all I can say to that. Okay, so also about this time, as kind of the special effects were kind of ratcheting, because you got to remember, in the 60s, there were horror movies, there were action films, but they really weren't like gory. Like the effects hadn't been mastered to that level. And frankly, there was a thought that there wasn't like a market for it. So the 70s were kind of the Wild West, where it's like now we're experimenting with this with gore, for lack of a better term, essentially. And what's interesting is a lot of these movies were getting banned, like banned in Italy, where there's like, they're making these movies. They were banned in certain countries. Like in England, they had what was called the video nasties list because they couldn't show, these movies were banned, so they didn't show them in the theaters. The only way people saw them in England is if somebody had a videotape that was passed around, like The Ring or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, and literally they were like raiding people's houses to find like people were smuggling these tapes in. It was a whole thing.
Like Faces of Death.
Like Faces of Death. And honestly, I've never seen Faces of Death, but Faces of Death it's basically very kind of thematically similar to movies like Cannibal Holocaust, where there's real violence and fake violence swirled together, and which is which, who's to say?
Right.
So again, we're going to talk more about the background of Cannibal Holocaust, but I think it's important to know when it was made, it was like 10 days later, it was banned in Italy, and the director was put on trial for murder. Boom.
As we like to say, the behind the scenes is so much better than the scenes.
I agree. There's certain movies
where the story of Cannibal Holocaust is really the interesting part.
Well, it's like The Island of Dr. Moreau with Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer. The movie blows. The interesting stuff is what occurs behind the scenes, and there's a documentary about that. And there's a few other movies where that's the case. It's not the movie; it's the documentary behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So
why is there no documentary about Cannibal Holocaust? That's
I think
right.
I agree, but I think it's also a case of people who know this movie. A lot of people are bothered by it. Rightfully so. A lot of people don't want to draw attention to it and glamorize it or glorify it.
Everybody knows about it.
I don't think they do, Aaron. I think people that we talk to.
What? That can't be real.
Aaron likes to drop Cannibal Holocaust in at least every other episode. Most people have no idea what we're talking about. Is the cold hard reality.
They need to ask. Don't be afraid to ask, kids. I'll explain.
Don't be afraid. So this is...
I would, even though I'll never see the movie again, if there was like a good Cannibal Holocaust t-shirt, I would buy that. But I looked online and there's not. So
there's not. So it's a thing. So we both said this is the second time we've seen it. I think we both saw... I know I saw it because Joe Bob Briggs showed it.
I saw it with you. Right?
So, and it was within the last 5 years was the first time I saw it. I knew about it previously because, when you do what I do, you're kind of reading Wikipedia pages and one thing leads to another. You're like, oh, there's cannibal movies. And then you hear about this movie.
Right.
And so I knew about it going into it. But it was, again, I only saw it for the first time a few years ago. But I'm going to tell you, the animal violence is so upsetting. I'm not going to ever watch this movie again either. No, I'm out.
So maybe I'll watch it again. if it's, I mean, not for my own pleasure, but if we had something we needed to do, we needed to speak of it or something. I mean, I did cover up my eyes multiple times, so I could probably do that again. But I'm not going to sit and watch it at home.
Not just for fun. You're not gonna just pop it in.
I'm like, oh, did the dishes, did the laundry. I think I'm gonna pop on Cannibal Holocaust.
The other thing we should talk about with this movie is this is literally one of the, if not the first, found footage horror movies. Like 30 years before, not 30 years, 20 years before Blair Witch Project was Cannibal Holocaust.
It starts off a rescue mission for these young people, these young filmmakers who disappeared, and they finally find the footage after also finding a bunch of bodies. And they start watching the footage, and it's like, ooh. And then they watch because the network people are like, oh no, we gotta go with this. He's like, oh, you haven't seen the rest of it. And then it's just a rape-a-thon. Or they're pushing the Yamamoto in their huts and setting it on fire. It's fantastic. Right.
So
they're all making love while the tribe sits and views.
Right. There's a lot going on with this because there is basically like you said, there's a small team of documentarians who go down the Amazon to film this tribe, and they're never heard from again. So they send another guy by himself, just kind of an anthropologist or whatever he is, with like two guides, and said, I don't know if I'm volunteering for that mission. If I'm being honest,
it was Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse
Now meets Cannibal Holocaust.
And along the way, they find the tribe. They kind of ingratiate themselves to the tribe, and then they find a bunch of bones. Number one, which is always funny, where it's clearly like, here's a fake arm from a medical supply yard, and they're like, I'm chewing on it. It's still just kind of hanging there. So that's
at one point we see the Yanomati eating an arm. I'm like, that doesn't even look like it's human. Are they eating a monkey? They're like, cannibals shooting at them. It's ridiculous.
Correct.
Like the Yanomati are the bad people. That was not the case.
Well, that's the reveal. Basically, when they find the tapes and they bring it back, like you said, and they show it, it's revealed. Number one, the documentarians, like you said, are frauds. They basically create these scenarios to film it. And there's a crazy scene in this movie where they're watching old footage of a previous documentary that they did, where it's just nonstop, people getting shot in the head, just bodies.
It's real footage of
that's real
being killed.
Correct.
This is it was Ed Wood, if he was just really
right.
Demented.
They basically took the makers of the Cannibal Holocaust, Ruggero Deodato. He basically found newsreel footage, Cambodia or whatever, right? Where it's these horrible atrocities are going on, and then you have used that newsreel footage of actual real atrocities and put it in this movie. And again, unnecessary. Wildly unnecessary.
Oh yeah, I don't really need to actually see people getting murdered. In the story, though, we find out that these filmmakers later on set all that up.
Right, it was all fake.
It was real people died, but not for the reason that we thought.
Well, they set it up. I thought they said that even the deaths were faked in the previous documentary.
They were faked in the fact that it was not a natural thing that they were just recording. They set it up.
So you're suggesting that they had those people murdered?
Dude, they had dudes they were just barbecued. There was nothing left of them at one point.
Well, there was all sorts of stuff. So
I mean, we see clearly they set up these scenarios and then film it.
It's funny because the anthropologist who was sent in to find them was a porno actor in real life.
I kept looking at him he's kind of attractive. I'm like, what other stuff has he done? And I'm it's all porn. I was like, okay, He tried. He was in a couple of mainstream things. He was doing his best, but it's hard to shake that stigma unless you're a Maxine, I guess.
That was the thing. Was basically, and the thing about it, all of these actors were trained actors, including him. But early in his career, he kind of took a left turn into porn because it was easy. You just show up, do your thing. He was famously in Debbie Does Dallas. I mean, not a joke. And if you look at him, I guess he looks kind of skeevy. He's not like a handsome devil or anything. I mean, so the fact that he's playing like the
dudes in the 70s, I don't know if you've seen 70s porn, but the hedgehog was not exactly a Greek goddess.
Well, he had like thinning hair and a scraggly beard, and he kind of was smoking like a corncob pipe. He was good in this, honestly. Yeah. He wasn't bad.
He was good.
He was.
He was good.
So he like for about 5 years, he worked like nonstop in porn. And I believe he was an extra. I know he was not an extra, but kind of a background actor in The Goodbye Girl with Richard Dreyfuss.
Who the hell was he in The Goodbye Girl?
He was.
Like, oh Lord.
He was in the play that Richard Dreyfuss is in the movie. He's one of the actors in the play. And what's funny
is to watch that again.
His Richard Dreyfuss recognized him and was like, "I love your work."
I love your work, sir.
So, but he was trying to veer into, and it's kind of a sad story. He tried to veer into kind of mainstream things, and he did for a while. Now, like what always happens with these kind of actors is that they kind of have to dip back in every now and again to pay the bills. And in like the mid 80s, his agent, I don't know if she just found out or he just found out that about his previous career, and dropped him. And that was the end of his acting career. And he turned to he couldn't get any more work. And he turned to like drugs and alcohol. It was a whole thing. It's kind of a sad story.
That makes me sad. Yeah, I mean, that's America Puritan. I mean, give him a break, man. Give him a break.
I liked him in this, ironically enough.
He was a much better actor than Tracy Lords and Roseanne. We'll just put that out there.
Well, she was not classically trained. It's the poor Tracy Lords. She was only 15. She does what she could do. She didn't go to Juilliard. So they send him out there. He finds the tapes, and they bring it back. And as they're watching it, and we're watching it with them, kind of, to a certain degree, and you realize, and we kind of got a sense of this, they are awful people. The four American documentarians are awful. They're horrible. Yeah. There isn't just because they kill like a sea turtle just for food, I guess for food, but it's a long drawn out.
Yeah, it was way too drawn out.
It was awful. Awful. We have behind the scenes on that too.
Non-stop rape.
Correct. They grab like a native girl, I don't know, indigenous woman, whatever she is, member of the tribe, and they all rape her, essentially. And not essentially, like literally. Well,
yes.
It's hard to know how to describe it. Hopefully not literally, but for the purposes of this. And I think we're supposed to think, because the next time we see her, she has been impaled on a long spike or like a tree trunk or something. I don't know what it was.
Like from her butt out her mouth.
Right. Now, when I was reading Wikipedia about this, I think we were kind of supposed to think that this was perpetrated by the documentarians, because they act like they found. Right. So that's a question.
I thought it was a tribe, because they acted surprised. You're thinking this is like a switcheroo? Because sometimes I'm counting people. Who's filming this? It seems like everybody's in frame.
There's two cameras running at all times. Like there's two different cameramen who are filming, so there's always something happening. But they kind of suggest this was kind of an honor killing, because they had their way, because they raped the girl, then the tribe did it. But there's a moment where the camera's kind of panning over to the director's face, and he kind of has like a smile on his face, and the guy goes, "Hey, I'm filming you." And the moment he says that to him, then he changes his expression to kind of like, "Oh, I'm so upset that this has happened. This is very, I can't believe."
Oh, I didn't put that together. I thought he was just a freak.
Right,
But
which could be. It
could be too. It's all
could
the
be
above.
right. It's all of the above. So you're right. So there's that whole horrible scene earlier in the movie. Oh God. Earlier in the movie, I don't want to talk about all the rapes. There's like 3 or 4 different rapes, and they're all upsetting.
Rapes aplenty. There's Yanomami raping someone with a stone.
Oh God.
And then there's some kind of weird rapey cannibalism, like where they're trying to carve all the ladies up. It is just the found footage is a gore fest.
The found footage is a gore fest.
For our porn star anthropologist is just trying to convince the network is you don't want to air this.
Right, because these are like, the top documentarians for their company or whatever. So they wanted to show because there was it was sensational. Like it was all over the news that this group went missing and that they found the footage. So they wanted people were kind of clamoring. And one thing I will say that's kind of positive about this movie is that really the monsters are the documentarians. They're the bad guys. They're the villains. The indigenous people finally go like, well, we've had enough. And that's why we're going to kill you and commit cannibalism. So is that a positive thing about this movie? I mean, I guess if you're looking for a silver lining. Because the anthropologist strolls in and strolls out. There's a few tense moments here and there, but he's fine. He doesn't have any issues. So
this is not like shooting people in the ass. I'm like, we'll just shoot a guy and follow him to the tribe. Shit like that was not happening. So the tribe seems to be the peaceful people.
Well, that's the thing. There's 2, and they talked about this, that behind the scenes, there have been in history cases of cannibalism, but these particular tribes in South America are not cannibals at all. I think it's important
I did read back in the day that they're people who will eat their own dead. It's that kind of cannibalism.
Correct. There's some kind of, occasionally, depending on the tribe, there may be
ceremonial.
There may be a ceremonial cannibalism that occurs as part of like a funereal rite, essentially. But it's not
like, I'm kind of hungry, Roger's looking good.
Correct. That's what we're supposed to, because again, this is the actual Yanomami tribe, evidently, that is supposedly the cannibals. So this movie, man, it's hard to talk about it because again, we like to keep things light and kind of fun, and this movie is just not that. It's like, if there's a down moment,
I got a light fun thing. So we have our porn star skinny dipping in the water, and all the Yanomami ladies are laughing at his dick, and they keep walking by and slapping his dick. I was like, what the hell?
He tries to kind of endear himself to the tribe by going in the swamp bone naked. And I don't know, bathing himself. And then you're right, 4 tribeswomen. Now this is behind the scenes. Those were local prostitutes that were hired.
Just for the dick slapping.
That was it. 100%.
Ladies, let me tell you. Just give it a slap.
Just give it slap-a-roo. They were. So there you have it. There's a lot of nudity in this movie. There's a lot of bizarre, unnecessary nudity. There's one scene where one of the guides, Miguel, this is supposed to be like in Colombia or something. One of the guides, Miguel, like just gets naked. He has like one of the tribe members, like prisoner.
First of all, Colombia is not in the Amazon. Let me just throw that out there.
I'm just saying, this is supposed to, they're in Colombia for some reason.
All right.
And he just gets bone naked and standing there and is like dancing around. So there's female nudity, full frontal, and
Yeah,
there's
the
male full
one.
frontal.
Yeah, the one lady.
The
Of the
script
documentary,
supervisor, whoever she was, yes.
whatever she is, she's just naked half the time, wandering around, dripping wet. I was like, this isn't a thing that people do.
They were in a hotel room at the beginning of their trip, and the guys are like have their camera out, like I don't know, just wasting film evidently. And she just strolls out bone naked, angrily, turn off the camera. And she's Italian, so it's like horrible dubbing. It's like it's like, she's like there's like two. I'm trying to think of the cast, of the documentarians. Two of them are American. One is Italian by way of Argentina, and one is just Italian. But they're all supposed to be American, which is standard.
A lot of the fascists went to Argentina after the war.
Right? It's a thing. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
So, and then there's a scene where it's like suddenly, spontaneously, they're just having sex in the bushes, like the script supervisor and the director. But it didn't seem. First of all, there's like you said, there's like 20 indigenous people just standing around going, "What's up? What are we doing now?" Behind the scenes, there was talk that the woman whose name jumped out of my mind, the female documentarian, was just like, hey, in order to get this scene right, you and I should just go in the woods and actually do it. What do you say? And the guy was like, I have a girlfriend back in New York, hard pass. Now, she claims that they were lovers the whole time and that they actually had sex in that scene.
Oh, interesting.
That's what she claims. What's funny is after filming some of these lovemaking scene, I don't know how you describe them, the indigenous people were very impressed with the guy that he lasted as long as he did, because they didn't realize. They're like, good work, big guy.
No wonder they were like concentrating. They were like, this is amazing. Oh my God.
Oh my God is right. So yes, they watch the whole thing, and there's a scene. Basically, things go wrong pretty quick when they start to go downhill. They're really going downhill for the documentarians, because they were just kind of shooting. They had guns, so they were just like shooting the indigenous people for like not much of a reason, like setting them on fire, all sorts of crazy stuff.
Honestly, even if you look at what they shot, it's nothing.
Right.
There's no way you could ever splice this bullshit together and have it be like some kind of a real film, because they're all like, mostly they're filming each other dicking around.
Right.
I mean,
correct.
In the end, there was nothing.
It was worthless.
It's ridiculous.
Well, one of I guess they're supposed to be kind of like they're exploring to discover like the habits of this tribe, but it's like if you're constantly lighting them on fire and shooting at them, it's like, what is your documentary truly about? I mean,
it's supposed to be that other tribe had gone into the village and set it on fire. But how long are they going to let you hang around after you burn down the village and rape the ladies?
Right. These are good questions. But it turns where it's like suddenly they're just because their guide gets killed because he freaking puts his boot on and there's like a snake in his boot. Aren't you the expert? Shouldn't you know? Like, check your boots before. Oh, God. And they kill the snake.
Of course, they go, well, we don't need a guide. Let's just carry on.
Let's just keep going. They just keep going. So they're wandering around. Shit goes wrong. The tribe, rightfully so, goes, okay, we've had enough of this bullshit. Yeah. And they killed the blonde dude in front, and you get to see like he gets like castrated. There's like a whole thing. Now, again, the effects are not great at this stage again. At one point, it just looked like a burlap sack they were hitting. I mean, it didn't look great. But again, their buddy, one of the cameramen, was just killed. if I'm them, I'm running for my life. But of course, they stay and film it. Let's film it.
There's like one person left, and
Correct.
they're watching the other person getting killed, filming it.
Right. Yes. It happens 3 times. It's like first.
I mean, they can count. They know how many people are left. You're next, brother.
Well, the good thing is, it's like they grab one of them, and then they stop looking. They would be like, okay, we got the one. Let's kill him. Okay, now he's dead. Let's go grab the next one. Because they're just standing over there in the bushes. Right.
Yeah, we can see you, mother effer. You're next.
They grab the woman, and then of course it's like an extended rape scene and then she's killed.
Yeah.
Which not all fun and games. And then it's the last 2 guys who are just like, then they're dead. And then it's goodly enough to fall their head right in front of the lens of the camera, like Blair Witch.
Yeah, the filming camera. Yeah.
Right, that was good. What were their plans as their friends are getting killed? And again, this is literally like a 6-minute scene. From the moment the first one dies until they're all dead, it's 6 minutes of the movie. Like the grand reveal, what happens to them. And it's just like, I think I'm running for my life. But that's just me.
But we don't have our guide, so how am I going to figure out how to get back?
Right.
How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
Sweet Jesus. Are there any other?
They shot one of the dudes so they'd be slow, so they'd be able to follow them to their camp.
Because they didn't have a guide anymore. Because the guy, he had a snake in his boot.
I don't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah. Someone's poisoned the water hole.
There's a snake in my boot. Yeah, it's God help us all. Any other scenes you want to talk about with this movie? Because it is multiple animals. Go ahead.
It's a slice of life. At the very beginning, it's like New York City, and there's a giant poster for Frank Langella's Dracula, who, at the time when I saw that was a thing.
People loved him.
People loved him because they were bringing the sexy back.
That's what they say.
I have not literally seen that in 300 years, so I don't know how it'll stand up. But Frank Langella went on and did stuff. He was all Mr. Star Wars. He was everything.
Laurence Olivier was in that movie as Van Helsing.
Oh, yeah. That's when he was like shriveled up, Olivier. You forget that he used to be a foxy mother effer back in the day.
A foxy devil, absolutely. I remember.
He was more like the boys from Brazil, Laurence Olivier, by that point.
I'll say, he was dying. And he had cancer that he was battling for like 10 years. Like from the mid 70s to the mid 80s. And he did a bunch of movies that I love. He did obviously Clash of the Titans at that point. He did Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman, The Boys from Brazil. He did
Boys from Brazil.
The Jazz Singer, where he's tearing his clothes.
Ain't no big surprise.
Ain't no big surprise. Anywho. Anything else about Cannibal Holocaust? God damn.
I think it was weird that they're literally in the apocalypse now, a war zone, and they're worried about spiders.
Oh, yes. So she has what looks like a fake spider on her. There's a spider! And they knock it off, and they replace it with a real spider, which they kill. It was the same thing. It was like the guy who got killed with a snake in his boot.
It was a boa constrictor. It was a little boa constrictor.
A little baby boa constrictor like slithers out of his shoe. It's like the size of a worm. Killed. Killed. It's like, we've got to kill more of these animals. Can we find some more animals to kill? They killed those two.
They won't let us kill the people anymore.
They did. First thing they killed, I think they call it like a muskrat, but it's not. It's called a coati, and
it was a Coata Monday. They're so cute.
When you see that thing get killed, and that's not found footage. That was when they were going. Now they say the director said every animal they killed, they gave the meat to the indigenous people. Okay, fine. But again, the way these animals are killed,
yeah,
it's rough. It's rough. They killed
poor
that
little
thing.
Quad Monday.
They killed a sea turtle, a big one, and that seemed to go. The guy they talked about how the guy
on forever.
Goes on forever, and of course they're making the actors do these things.
Right.
So in some of these cases, these are just actors. And now they're say, here's a machete, go kill that thing. The one blonde actor who helped. How about no? The main actor who played the director said, "I ain't doing this. I'm out. I'm not doing that." The blonde actor had to step in and do it, and they said he cried like the whole time, essentially afterward. Like it was so upsetting. There's so many. They talked about how eventually, the cast and the crew said, if we kill one more animal, we're out of here.
We're out.
Because it was awful. There was a scene where the documentarian's supposed to give like this grand old speech, and behind him, the cameraman takes a gun and shoots a pig right behind him. The death throes of the pig were so upsetting that the guy forgot his lines, and they couldn't use it because they were only allowed to kill one pig. They only had one pig to kill.
Yeah, that was horrible also, because they did a lousy shot dispatch. Plus, they were kicking it before, and it was a baby. And then they did a terrible job. They didn't shoot him in the head. Who knows? And the thing was screaming. It was horrible, horrible. I forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that back.
They killed a monkey. Chopped it. You got to close your eyes and they were going to have the indigenous people eat like fake monkey brains, but they're like, no, right. Give us the real thing. You already killed it.
Yeah, like monkey. They like they prefer the spider monkeys over the howler monkeys. Unnecessary.
Unnecessary. Why don't we go behind the scenes, shall we? Because this is where it gets truly interesting.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. We talked about this. 10 days after its premiere in Milan, the film was seized by the Italian courts, and director Ruggero Deodato was arrested and charged with obscenity. And he was later charged with murdering several actors on camera and faced life in prison.
I like that. They thought it was a real thing. They thought it was real footage.
They thought it was real footage. And the actors allegedly had agreed to kind of drop out of sight for a little bit to kind of help with the realism.
Like Blair Witch!
Blair Witch.
Like Blair Witch, so everyone would believe it. Yeah, that's what you get, bro.
So the actors came out and they had to demonstrate the effects, like how they did certain things, and they dropped the murder charges, but he still was arrested and charged with obscenity. And also because of the animal cruelty. That was a big issue as well.
Good.
Yeah. So it was a whole thing. He talked about he based the film on a film he saw of a documentary crew who died while investigating cannibals in Africa. That's what he said. So he kind of ripped it off.
What's the name of that film? What's the name
I
of
don't
that
remember.
film?
Who's to say?
He don't remember neither.
Sergio Leone wrote a letter to Ruggero Deodato, the director, which stated, "Dear Ruggero, what a movie. The second part is a masterpiece of cinematographic realism, but everything seems so real that I think you will get in trouble with all the world."
Yes. And what's wrong with Sergio Leone?
That's a question. The main documentarian, Carl Gabriel York, was hired because the original actor had quit and he happened to wear the same size shoes as that actor.
The other guy was like, this, I'm out.
Yep. He said, as soon as he arrived, the director said, "That's my star, get him into makeup." And the very first scene he shot almost immediately was the amputation of another character's leg. And at that point, he was in the jungle at this point. He flew in from New York, first day, and he did not know if this was a Hollywood production or a snuff film.
Oh.
He's like, this is his first movie. And he's like, what have I signed up for?
Yeah.
100%. the father of the man who played Miguel was murdered during filming. Not because of the film, just kind of coincidentally.
After the turtle comes the parents.
It's true. Production was delayed, so we go home for the funeral. And there's a scene where Professor Monroe, which was our hero, Chaco, who was the guide, and Miguel was the younger guy. They're sitting outside the Yanomamo village immediately after discovering the bone shrine. And Miguel is crying, but he's crying because his father just died.
They're like, keep filming.
That's what it is. Ruggiero Deodato has said he now regrets everything he did, especially the actual animal deaths. He said once he was stupid for including animals in the film the way he did. So,
see, now I read that he was justifying it in that he was raised on a farm and we butchered animals all the time.
He said that at the time. I think he said it. I think it's like later. I think he kind of. Dude, who knows how he actually feels?
He got exactly. I think he was tired of getting all the flack, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that my deepest regret. Not all the rape so much, but I do deeply regret the Coatimundi."
Absolutely. Various sources have claimed that the film was banned in 50 countries. Italy banned it.
Surprised. I wouldn't. I mean, think about the time.
Yes.
I mean, this is some kind of like House of 10,000 Corpses in the Amazon.
Yes. Italy banned it for 3 years. It was not allowed a theatrical release in the United States for 5 years, and it was banned in Norway until 2003. Boom.
Until the demand grew so loud. We must have our Holocaust.
The Yanomamo and the Shamatari are actually South American native tribes, but shockingly, neither one of them is accurately portrayed in the film.
That is shocking. I thought this was a documentary.
The original title for the film was going to be The Green Inferno, which they actually mentioned a couple times.
Yes.
But what's interesting, Eli Roth, who's a big fan of this movie, made his own cannibal-themed horror film and called it Green Inferno in 2013 as an intentional homage. I never saw it.
A lot of rape?
I'm sure. Well, we've talked about this before, where it's like you really can't do these kind of travelogues or adventure films or these kind of things where the indigenous people are the villains. You know what I mean? Where it's just kind of like where they're portrayed as like monsters.
Well, and they weren't.
They weren't in this, shockingly enough.
They weren't in this. Shockingly, you think by the name. In reality, well, I don't know why it's Cannibal Holocaust, but Holocaust, how about the Yanomami Holocaust?
Absolutely. Well, and that was the other thing. He chose the title, Holocaust, to be especially shocking, right?
Of course.
Yeah, it's you can't throw around the word Holocaust. He actually did that.
Killing 5 people, or I think they killed even 5 or 6 people, does not equal a Holocaust.
Yep. During an interview in 2014, Francesca Ciardi, who was the script supervisor, or whatever she was, she knew in advance that she'd be required to strip off in this movie, and she was comfortable with that. But they shot some scenes with the double that were not her, and she complained terribly. And she talked about how basically when she would be hesitant to be nude or whatever the sex scene was, the director would take her into the jungle and just yell at her until she finally agreed to do whatever they wanted her to do.
What the Yeah. But they still had a body double.
From time to time. I guess during the final murder and rape, then it's sometimes a body double.
Oh,
so
Jesus Christ.
Shockingly enough,
because you saw her inside and out.
Yes.
By the end. Yeah, yes. For sure.
This is actually the second film of Ruggiero Deodato's Cannibal trilogy. So there you go. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
What are the names of the other ones?
Do you want me to look it up? We'll have to see.
You can't say trilogy and then not tell me what it is.
Well, let's take a look. Ruggero Deodato was the director.
Yes, he was.
Let's see what he did.
Oh.
Oh, look at that. He was he was director of Cannibal Holocaust, but he was also second unit or assistant director in Django, the original 1966 movie with Franco Nero. How about that?
I used to think Franco Nero was Foxy in Camelot.
He's a handsome
But
devil.
back to the trilogy.
I'm looking. Give me a second. He also played the Italian cannibal in Eli Roth's film Hostel Part 2.
God,
Coincidence? I have not seen any of those movies either.
I've never seen it all the way through.
Let's see. So he did something called Last Cannibal World in 1977. 1980 did Cannibal Holocaust. So what would be the... I don't know what the third movie would be. Hard to say. House at the Edge of the Park. It's a mystery. Anyway, you can look this up. He actually didn't direct that much. He directed, well, it's 36 movies over from 1964 to 2019. So he was still doing stuff.
How about this on the soundtrack?
Yep.
He was the director was particularly fond of the film's main theme, which was given lyrics and became a worldwide pop hit under the title More.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Let's look at the cast, shall we? Robert Kerman played Professor Harold Monroe. What?
The main theme was used in an American teen series, Euphoria.
Oh, that's not shocking at all. That's not shocking at all. You know Robert Kerman from Cannibal Holocaust in 1980. He was in your favorite actor, Kevin Costner, in No Way Out in 1987, playing the CID man.
I always get No Way Out confused. Isn't that the La Femme Nikita?
No, that's Point of No Return.
That doesn't sound right. You're making stuff up.
He was in 2002 Spider-Man, playing the tugboat captain. And he was in something called Eaten Alive in 1980. So maybe that's the other cannibal movie. I did not mention also Debbie Does Dallas, so you can check that out. Do you want to know about any of the other actors in this?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Did they mention any of the Yanamani or?
Shockingly, no.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. Very upsetting. Let's look at the rating, shall we? Cannibal Holocaust on Rotten Tomatoes currently has 65% fresh. Now, I'm going to tell you, only 17 reviews, though. Okay. What do you think the audience?
So a bit of a sleeper, huh?
It's a bit of a sleeper.
I'm going to say the audience. I have two numbers in my head.
25,000 reviews.
All right, 58%.
61. 61.
Close.
There are 3 top critics. I'm just going to read them.
If it's Variety staff, I don't believe that constitutes top critic.
One is just Time Out. And I don't know who that... I mean, it's a publication, but I'm not... It doesn't say who actually wrote it. It says... Its pointed attack on exploitative filmmaking seems somewhat rich in the circumstances, but this is a well-made, uniquely unpleasant, and almost deserving of its huge cult status.
So would you consider this well-made?
That's a good question. That is an excellent question. I don't know how I would describe it because it's so shocking. It's hard for me to kind of judge it as whether or not it's well made or poorly made.
Because quite frankly, like I said, the found footage doesn't even make sense.
Right. Eric Henderson of Slant Magazine says, Most of the enduring grindhouse movies lose the residue of sweaty misanthropy through the simple, inevitable obsolescence of their hard-candied centers of shock value.
What the What's the matter with people?
0 out of 4.
0 out of 4.
That was unnecessarily bizarre and verbose. Just say you don't like it. How about that? It sucks. Nick Shager of Lessons of Darkness says, the actual savages involved with Cannibal Holocaust are the ones behind the camera. D.
Yeah. I mean, that is a good point. That's a good twist in the story. It's not who are the savages.
I think he's talking about Ruggero Deodato, is what he's trying to say. Okay.
I'm throwing him in the mix.
What is your rating for Cannibal Holocaust?
I'm just going to say 2 out of 5 Kawada Mondays up your ass.
2 out of 5. Look at you.
I mean, it has a great name.
I guess I'm knocking on the door with you as well. I guess 2 out of 5. But I would tell people don't watch this.
I would say
do not watch it. It is so upsetting.
Yeah.
It truly is. I mean, and again, it's not the cannibal shit. The cannibal shit is a walk in the park. It is, I mean, it's the rapes. And that's fake. And then going even further, the real animal cruelty that occurs a half dozen times over the course of this movie for no reason.
Yeah.
So unless you are a real, like, I gotta see every horror movie kind of person, this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the casual horror fan. No way. So it's hard for me to judge it on any kind of normal scale.
I'm going to stop you right here because
Please.
I found something in IBDM, In the Jungle, the making of Cannibal Holocaust.
Well, now we got to see where we can watch that.
What?
In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
The Holocaust sleeps tonight.
Let's see. In the jungle. I don't think it's going to pop up anywhere. I got Mozart in the Jungle. Is that the
user
one?
rating is 5.6 out of 10 for this interesting documentary.
I don't see it anywhere.
In the Jungle, the making of Cannibal Holocaust. All right, let's see here. Where is it streaming? Oh, IMDb doesn't tell me that, does it?
Oh, sons of it can sometimes. Now I'm looking it up. This is good pod, by the way. We're both like on our phones trying to find out where it is.
Edit that shit out.
That's staying in. Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death? Nope.
No.
Not that one. That's a good one, though. Okay, I'm not going to look any longer. If you find it, we can share that with our friends and family. Any last thoughts on Cannibal Holocaust, Aaron?
Well, no, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Let's talk about, I watched the Charles Manson documentary because Errol Morris is like my favorite speaking of documentaries. Mm-hmm. But I have to tell you, I was disappointed. He did Wormwood. Did you see that on HBO?
No, I did not.
It's about MK Ultra. And so the new Charles Manson chaos, they start talking about MK Ultra and the CIA doing experiments with LSD and mind control on the hippies at Haight-Ashbury.
I've heard this theory before.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'd heard all this before, and I really like Errol Morris, but ever since he got the Academy Award for the Fog of War, I don't think his stuff's been so good.
That was it.
Yeah, and it was like it was a rehash with some uncensored pictures, a lot of clipped together footage, but.
So it was like Cannibal Holocaust, what you're saying.
Right. I mean, The guy who has the theory on the MK Ultra, the evidence is weak as hell.
Of
Weak as
course.
hell.
Anyway, so thank you
there's
very
that.
much. So there's that. Thank you very much. Thank you for putting up with Cannibal Holocaust, by the way. You can find us over most of the social media. We're on Threads, we're on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok. You might be watching us on YouTube as we speak.
Maybe.
Maybe. You can also email us, the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review. Won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
Dude, I have so much media, but literally, I just post the exact same thing on 25 different platforms.
As do I.
You've seen one, you've seen them all. I'm casting a wide net, and quite frankly, most of my followers are all the same people that are also on the same media. So I'm on Flickr, I'm on Tumblr, I'm on Threads, I'm on Blue Sky, I am on the Gram, the Cult of Aaron, join the cult. And we're on the Ticker Talker, the podcast that wouldn't die.
Correct. As you know, we like to include our friends' thoughts and feelings across the media landscape. Aaron, what you got?
Well, we recently posted our little video, our little Kevin's WTF videos about the immortal classic Angel Heart, and it's the scene where De Niro's peeling the egg. That got a lot of noise. So, Funkadeli Seabliss. I love this flick. It's one of both of their best movies. Vincent Coleman, 711. Wow, only Gen X knows this movie. Vincent Coleman also, when responding to someone else who said, I don't know this movie, he's now arguing with another person saying, how? Lisa Bonet effed her role on The Cosby Show being naked in this movie with Mickey Rourke. They got murdered 40 minutes into the damn thing. In regards to Pan's Labyrinth, Richard Red Toolbox, very interesting film, a very interesting name.
True.
Raul Gonzalez Jr. 400. The little girl didn't know how to follow directions. So
she did not.
She
lived. The little fairy friends got their heads bit off, so that's not fair. Anyway.
Poor little fairy people. You get what you get, you don't throw a fit.
It's true. They tried to stop her from eating the grapes, and she wasn't going to listen. So there you go.
Not listening. That is Guillermo del Toro's best film.
Oh, damn.
Right,
that's something.
For sure. Because quite frankly, I've hated everything after that.
Oh, so, shit.
There we go. Pinocchio, trash. Let's Have Sex with a Lizard, trash. It's all trash.
Next week, we're going to be discussing the horror classic As Above, So Below. I don't know if I said that correctly. Is it so above, as below?
As above, so below.
As above, so below. And
we
you can
literally picked it because it had a cool poster and an awesome name. We were gonna do The Witch, but that costs $6 to rent.
We said no can do.
We said no can do. Just because Ager is all high as a kite on a shitty Nosferatu doesn't mean Dory's paying more.
So once again, it is As Above, comma, So Below. And you can watch it on Amazon Prime. You can watch it on Apple TV, YouTube, and you can watch it on Fandango at home if you want to pay $3.99. So it's not streaming anywhere for free. I'm sad to say. So,
Jeff Bezos. Why is nothing free? What am I getting in my Prime? Am I really ordering $200 worth of shit now to get free delivery? Quite frankly, half the stuff gets free delivery without Prime.
Yes.
What am I spending $200 for?
These are questions. So
I'm only ordering from the Chinese now.
So, that's like my children. I'm going to use the Chinese social media. It's like, really? That's what we're doing. Anyway.
Dude, I immediately downloaded DeepSeek as soon as they said they were going to try to ban it. Immediately.
Sweet Jesus.
And I love it. Love it!
Anywho, send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes about As Above, So Below, and maybe we'll talk about it on the show. So, thank you very much, and be well!
Be well.